Now, hello, everyone. Good to see everyone. And today I'm going to talk about relationship and emotions in the caregiving work. Okay. We talked about building a relationship previously, and today we're going to talk about emotions in caregiving work. So what is care? The word care has a double meaning. On the one hand, it emphasizes care activities such as bathing, dressing, or feeding someone. On the other hand, care is also feelings of concern such as caring or affection from the caregiver towards the patient. When we care about someone, we usually feel commitment and responsibility towards him. I want to emphasize and say that what I've said before is what is in our toolbox as caregivers, right? This is our profession. We are professionals. And this is an incredible profession to be in because not everyone can do this. I think you know that. And you already have the emotional stamina to be in this kind of work. And it's important for us to understand that the better people we are, the more sensitive we are, the more we are attuned to the people around us, especially our employer and of course his family and his community, the better of the better job we do. So that is what is in our toolbox, right? Our personality, our sensitivity, and all of those are our main tools for going to work. Care work. Care work has been defined as work that provides services based on sustained personal interaction and is motivated, at least partly, by the concern about others. So if you've chosen this line of work, you already know that this is something that is a fit for you, right? You're not a technician, you're not a driver, and you're a caregiver. And care work involves a relationship with your patient and his family. The relationship is a way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected. And I think that you already know that the difference between, a doctor and a nurse also provide care. But the kind of care that you as long-term caregivers provide is on a whole different basis. It's on the basis of the interpersonal trust relationship that you form with your employer. And that is a very, very important base to, that will carry out your work and hopefully his well-being. Interpersonal relationship is an association between two or more people that may range from fleeting to enduring. In our case, it is an enduring relationship, right? This association may be based on care, solidarity, regular business interactions, or some other type of social commitment. Well, the complexity of the relationship that you form with your employer has all of those elements. Okay, it's a business interaction because you do get paid. It's a social commitment because this is your life, your social activities. Everything is revolved around his life cycles, and solidarity. Absolutely. Okay, the relationship you create with your patient and his family is an interpersonal relationship. And of course, stress under the family, okay? Because they are a unit. The meaning and importance of a relationship. Relationships provide the opportunity for three key benefits: exchange of support, social engagement, and a sense of worth. All major ingredients for the foundation of well-being of both sides of a relationship. I want to stress to you the importance of an exchange of support. I think that you already know that one of the things that is a major cause of death and illness is loneliness. Okay, and if you don't know, in England, for example, they have already appointed a minister for loneliness. What does that mean, a minister for loneliness? That means that England has taken on the responsibility of trying to find all of those people that define themselves as lonely, and to try to alleviate that situation, because it is a major cause of death. Absolutely, more so than any other disease. And so when we're talking about an interpersonal relationship, this is, one of the key benefits of um, of um, of well-being. Okay, of having a person that lives and cares for you in your home. And you cannot behave as a technician, because the interpersonal relationship that you form with your employer is the basis of this interaction. Okay. So it's very important that you take that as part of his, how should I say it, as part of your job, to be there for them and to be significant in that interaction. Okay, exchange of support, social engagement, and a sense of worth. Okay, a sense of worth. When people don't have social engagement, when they don't have a circle of support from other people, whether it's family, friends, or a real caring caregiver, then they don't have a sense of worth. Okay, this is very important. All of those elements are very important in the interaction that you have with your employer. All major ingredients for the foundation of well-being of both sides of a relationship. Okay. Components of a relationship: on the surface of the relationship, needs, desires, and abilities. And under the surface of a relationship, expectations, knowledge, and emotions. Okay. So even if a person has family, and if they're not very involved, if they're living far away, if if they don't come to visit, especially now because of Corona, maybe text messages, telephone messages, whatever, so much of that responsibility of being in a real relationship, an interpersonal relationship, is on the caregiver. Okay, is on the caregiver. So on the surface of relationship, there are needs, desires, and abilities. And under the surface of relationships, expectations, knowledge, and emotions that both parts have. On the surface of relationship, talking about needs, both the caregiver and the patient have the need for listening, attention, honesty, and feeling respected. Okay. Both the caregiver and the patient have desires, okay, to be listened to have a person's attention, to honesty, and feeling respected. And of course, abilities. Both the caregiver and the patient have abilities, the ability to listen, to respect each other. Under the surface of relationship, there are expectations, knowledge, and emotions, okay? Both the caregiver and the patient have the needs, okay, to get good treatment, to keep the family involved. Knowledge, both the caregiver and the patient have the knowledge, what is good care in their eyes. And emotions, both the caregiver and the patient have emotions, both positive and negative, like empathy, along with longing. I think you're going to find that there are many aspects of your life and your employer's life that that might be paralleled, in terms of like it's mentioned here. You have longing for your family, for the life that you left behind, perhaps something that you would like to happen in the future. And for your employer, also perhaps the same, longing for the life they left behind that they once had. And perhaps being lonely, perhaps having difficulty in passing the time, and also, being kind of anxious about what the future holds for them. The connection between the two layers of a relationship: needs, desires, abilities, expectations, knowledge, and emotions. All of that is part of an interpersonal relationship. Care work is emotion work. Okay, this is what it is. This is what we do. We use our emotions and we build on our emotions, and also on the emotions, the positive, hopefully, emotions that we can evoke in our employer and the interaction that we have with them. Care work is often defined as emotion work. Emotion work can be defined as work that involves emotions. Emotions arise and work that requires to express emotions. It can also be defined as management of one's own feelings or work done in an effort to maintain a relationship. It is only natural that during the caregiving work, different and varied emotions will arise, both positive and negative, and each emotion is legitimate. So again, it's like, like a blind date or a blind marriage or, a relationship that it's there. You both made a commitment to be there. And then you have to find out who this person is, how to best take care of him. He has to find out how the best way to manage you also. And and a lot of emotions may arise, okay? Sometimes frustration, sometimes anger, sometimes loneliness, hopefully happiness and and satisfaction and respect and so on. Um, you have to be very, very honest and open about your own emotions and find ways to deal with them. Very important that you find the ways to energize yourself, okay, to charge your own batteries. This is going to be at times a difficult job. And so you have to know how to relax, how, take the time to sleep, to eat, to make all the things that are, energizing to you. If you pray, if you like to listen to music, if you like to dance, sing karaoke, meditate, all the things that people do in order to bring strength physically, very important, and emotionally to themselves. And of course, try to find those ways that will support your employer as well, right? Okay, because all of that is part of your job. It's quite a broad range of issues that you must deal with and take on as your responsibility. Okay. Along with the emotions that you have towards your patients, remember to be self-compassionate towards yourself. It's important to recognize your emotions, identify them, and give them space and knowledge. I want to say two things. Firstly, if you come across difficult situations that you don't know how to deal with, you're overwhelmed, perhaps your employer is not behaving well, perhaps he's abusing you, or or I don't know, something negative of a sort, don't be alone with it. Okay, you really don't need to be alone in any kind of situation that you are puzzled or or at a loss of how to respond. Of course, you don't want to respond in a negative way. You don't want to, to punish or to behave angrily at an employer that misbehaves. He's not a child, right? He's an adult, and we have to respect him at all times. And so, learning how to deal with difficult situations is part of your job, and with it, each person is going to be different. You have, friends here, and you have the social worker at the agency, and you have CME, and there's always a way to find help to deal with the situation. And of course, if you don't find any way that's possible to withstand any, whatever comes up, you can always ask to change an employer. But you have to give it your 100% to find solutions, okay? All employers are difficult, they really are. And it's a difficult job that you've taken on to yourself. And so, this is part of the challenge. I want to say that I can't stress enough that you have to be minded to care for yourself. Okay, when you get on a plane, you've all come here by flight, and the airline stewardess already told you if there's an emergency. First, you put the oxygen mask on yourself, and then you put the oxygen mask on someone that is, not able to, who's near you. Because if you don't have the strength, right, to care for yourself, you definitely cannot care for someone else. So we are here to care for you and to find that all of those, all of those experiences that we've already had as professional caregivers that we can share with you and teach you how to deal with all kinds of difficult situations. So if you feel any negative emotions, do not suppress them. Do not be left alone with your feelings, emotions. You can always find someone to talk to, friends, family, or the agency. Okay, very important. Tips for creating a good relationship. Be mindful of how you start a conversation. Okay, ask open questions. Use the I statement. Be specific in the message that you want to transfer. Okay, so again, English is probably the common language that you may or may not have with your employer. So if you don't speak Hebrew and they don't speak English, it's going to be that much more challenging. Time to be creative. Put on your charm, put on your acting hat and guessing hat, and try to, implement all the other faculties, friends, neighbors, whoever can be of help and service to you in doing your job better, right? So it's all based in communication. And again, it is your responsibility to learn how to communicate with your employer, okay? They are at the weak point of their life. You are at a high point of your life. All of the abilities are on you. So it is your responsibility to find ways to communicate well. Give others the attitude you want to receive. I think that there is no culture that you can go wrong with that, right? If you care for someone, if you trust them, if you give them your 100%, they will surely see it and understand it and appreciate it. So I invite you to ask questions, to respond to what I've talked about, feelings, how we manage our own feelings. What I didn't speak clearly about is borders. I think one of the most important things that we need to learn how to do is to kind of put borders between us and the employer. It's a very difficult situation. On the one hand, you want to be emotionally involved. You want to understand. You want to empathize. You want to, be there for your employer emotionally and physically. On the other hand, you got to guard your own emotional space, right? So it's a difficult place to be. I will share with you that when I was a very young social worker, and I worked in the same community that I lived, and I had to encounter the people that that I worked with in the supermarket, in the street, on the bus, and every time I was encountered by them, I was overwhelmed because my job and my private life got mixed in together, and I didn't really know how to separate them and how to deal with it. And I was very young, and eventually I had to move to a different neighborhood, not to see on the bus and in the supermarket, the people that I encountered at work. And so that was very dramatic for me. And so I'm very aware, I'm not there anymore, obviously, but I'm just saying that it's a very important place to learn how to manage, okay? When you step out of your job, even though you're still there physically, and take the time for yourself, for your family, for your private thoughts and feelings, and when you are there for them, okay? And it's a difficult place to learn to manage, but you must learn to manage those borders around yourself, okay? In order to maintain your own strength and well-being. Okay, I hope I've stressed that and explained it well. So that's it. That's all I got to say today. I invite you to ask questions, respond to things that I've talked about, or other things that you're concerned about, that you're thinking about, that, is on your mind. Please do. What feelings you think may arise during the caregiving work? How do you usually express your feelings? How do you feel in general about care work? What brought you to care work? This is a big question. Anyone?
So I'd like to ask you something. you don't think it will be maybe scary or hard?
I think it will be, yes. I think working in a different country and a different nationality will be, I mean, being scared is part of it. And at the same
Mhm.
time, it's also a part, I believe also that there's no job that is easy. All jobs are hard, but you have to put 100% on that so that you can form the job very well.
That's very true.
Agree.
Very true.
Absolutely.
No one pays you for doing nothing.
Mhm.
They want to pay you for doing 100%. And we want to be for our best, not for our, almost good. Would anyone like to comment about, anything that I've said, emotions and work, being involved? Lani, what has
Um,
brought you to this profession?
um, I
Hi,
I think I want to share something on my mind.
please do.
Yeah, I think one of the best that will help us in our caregiving work is the passion to care for the elderly. Because building a relationship is you have to have this passion to care for them. Because I think yes, it's already a fact that we don't know who they are or we don't know their culture and we are in a new country, but um, caring for them, the passion to care for them, that's actually help us to build a good relationship to them. Because when from my experience, when I read the case of my patient, it's like I think she has a pacemaker or something. She undergone bypass surgery, so from that point, I said, it's like I felt bad about her. It's like I'm excited already to take care of her because I think she's also the my employer. And I don't know if she had a family because on my contract it says nothing. She doesn't have a spouse and any children. So I think the passion, I'm already excited since my quarantine will be finished on Wednesday, and I'm really this excited because I have this feeling that I will treat her like my own grandmother or like a mother. So this passion will help me to at least build a good relationship to my employer, I think.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I want to comment about what you just said, if you allow me a minute. I want to tell you something. Sometimes when people live most of their life alone, if they don't have a spouse or children, or if they've never been married, they have you would think, oh, they would have an easy time having someone finally come into their life, caring for them, and and being loving and caring. Sometimes not. Sometimes, because they are so used to being alone, it feels very, very difficult for them to accept another person being in their space. So, just so that you are aware of that, um, whatever people are used to, that's what they're used to. And a change, even if we would expect it to be, a good one, um, is very difficult to accept and adjust to. On the other hand, people adjust very quickly to good things. Really. If your phone is better, takes about a day and you're there and you already forgot the old one, in spite of the fact that you were so used to it and you loved it. But, we get used to good things very quickly. But having, if you've lived a most of your life as an elder person by yourself, it's it's a difficult situation to adjust. So just, keep your expectations on a check, just for that. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Would anyone else like to share something that they're thinking about or have an experience with?
Ma'am, I just want to ask questions like, would it be better for us to attach ourselves to our employer like 100%, or it's better for us to, to put a little, what do you call that? I said boundaries, no?
Very
Not
individual situation boundaries. It depends on you. It depends on your employer. Sometimes people, open up their hearts and their house and their, and their everything on a very warm, spontaneous level, and you respond to that. And sometimes not. So, I mean, it's a matter of, especially in the beginning, like a dance, you put one foot in, one foot out, one hand in, one hand out, kind of, check the water out and see how people respond. Um, it's a very intimate situation being, living in a home with someone, and it would like to be, as close as if you that you are willing to be. But it is a negotiation that takes time. So give it the time. Give it the time. Perhaps you can ask that question, the experienced caregiver that we're going to speak to soon, and see what she says about her experience. That would be, a good question for her. All right, everybody. Anyone else would like to share a question or a situation they're thinking about, concerned about?
You will
Okay.
have the opportunity to ask later on and to send us questions, write on chat. Nympha will be joining us in 5 minutes. And
Let's take
then,
a 5-minute break.
tomorrow. Yeah,
Thank you, Anat.
5 minutes, everyone.